So, in this week's episode of Car Rust, we're going to be discussing the Nissan Juke. Um, I'd say there's a conversation to be had about style.
Yeah, since the minute the Nissan Juke came out, I have hated every single part of this car. I have hated it from every single angle, from top, from bottom, from side to side. It is one of the ugliest creations and does not deserve to be on the road.
Well, yeah, I think there's definitely some interesting choices. For starters, the two big circle headlights right there. Those are pretty interesting. And then, the main headlights that bulge out, well, they're not the greatest.
Right, so in a funny way, actually, Nissan was one of the first and early companies to do this kind of split design of having the specific headlight, the accent headlight, separated from the main body actual illuminating headlights. And unfortunately, they did not set off on the right foot. It's one of the ugliest things I've seen. Since then, I've seen a lot of manufacturers actually do a pretty decent job, but the Nissan Juke was a train wreck.
So yeah, since then, that concept of separating those front headlights, it has caught on, and most cars do that. But yeah, even beyond the headlights, you just look at the car and just like the overall shape and the cuts where they are, like the lines, they just seem like they don't match.
Right, it was kind of a mess. It was like a car in the middle of an identity crisis. It was like, who am I as a car,
Yeah.
right? In a lot of ways, it was, oh, I'm a hatchback. I deserve to have a normal hatch trunk and a swooping rear. But then on the other side, it was like, well, wait. No, I'm a crossover. I need to actually be an off-roader. I need to have suspension height. I need to have this really weird handle on the back door that's built into the window frame. That's what I really need.
So yeah, I think really early on they realized that there was a big design problem with this car. So Nissan did try to do some things to make it less of a problem, including their color customization package, in which people could customize almost the color of every single part in the car. And well, their primary designs were somewhat interesting.
And almost immediately with that, the car that I didn't think could get any worse got more worse,
I don't know,
if that's
just
even possible. It got so much worse. If you look at this thing, right, you've got yellow wheels, a yellow trim on the bottom, yellow mirror, and yellow useless spoiler in the top back, and then the rest of the car is navy blue. It looks like it belongs in a circus.
it's weird, right? Because this was just to showcase that they were offering this color trim package. Yet this is one of the cars they chose to show us this is one of the things you could do with such a package, and it was supposed to be their good looking package. And well, it clearly didn't turn out that way. Like the where the accent colors are just makes no sense.
Yeah, and honestly, like it must have been a really dark time over in Nissan marketing, over in Nissan design. It seems like they were struggling. Maybe they hadn't paid the electricity bill, so they couldn't really see the design very well. I don't know what their problem was, but this was the Nissan designer sitting over there in Japan, struggling to see what he was drawing, struggling to see what he was painting, and then somehow someone accidentally made it. It was like a mechanic was like, "Oh, a Nissan. Oh, okay. I guess we'll manufacture it." And this came out.
And then yeah, like going back to the design, just another thing that like it doesn't look like any other Nissan they have. If you look at Nissans now, they all have like similar front headlights, and they look like if you see Nissan, you know it's a Nissan, even if they took off the badges. Not a single Nissan, actually, not a single car looks like this on the road.
Right. And normally you would think, wow, I have a car that stands out, right? You look at a Ferrari, it's like, okay, not a single car around it will look anything as cool as it is. This was cool in the wrong way, as in not cool. This thing came out and it was, what are we looking at? Why does it not look like anything on the road? But not in a good way. It was like it doesn't look like anything on the road. Maybe you should drive it off a cliff because it has no place on the road.
Yeah, it didn't get the best reception. And well, so it was a turbocharged inline 4 and it made about 188 horsepower, but one thing I always thought was annoying. So they tried to make it a hatchback, but also like a crossover. I think they tried to lean in more to the crossover area, as you can see by like the ride height. But it's only offered in front wheel drive.
Here's what I think Nissan did when they were making the Juke. They took two groups of kindergartners, gave one group a mechanical engineering degree, and told them to work on the front of the car, build the engine, build the drivetrain, and only look at the front of the car. And then they got the other people over from their racing division and said, why don't you go make the back of the car? So they threw on a spoiler, they threw on those long trim lights, and then they were like, wait, copy, paste, cut, merge, here we go. And now what we see is a child's drawing of a car in the front and a child's drawing of a car in the back, just that one decided that they like circles more and the other one prioritized downforce.
And then another bad thing, this is more about Nissan cars in general, but this car having it definitely doesn't help. it does have on the standard model a CVT.
The worst transition known to man.
Yep.
If you can even call it a transmission.
Yeah. It's yeah, but I mean, some people say that there are some redeeming qualities about the Juke. For example, they made a Nismo version, and okay, look, beyond looks, it does have a six-speed manual transmission, which is nice, and it does make up to 215 horsepower, which is a bit of a tune-over. And I mean, look, in a car this small, a six-speed manual with that much horsepower, it may be fun to drive.
Yeah, again, this was another reach by Nissan's marketing division to say, how can we make this car cooler? Well, we've already got this really cool design. We've already got this really cool customized paint scheme option. Let's make it extra cool by slapping on a Nismo badge, a little bit of horsepower, and now a lot more people will be buying it. Just that we're going to have to charge you maybe like $10,000 more for it.
Yeah, I think, look, when you add a Nismo trim to a car and you make it a little bit sportier, it should be a car that people want to pay more for, but I don't think I could see anyone saying, yeah, I want to pay $10,000 for a Nissan Juke.
And you're thinking of the kind of people that are buying this car, right? They're not looking to go take this car out on a track. They just want to go get groceries from Kroger and Walmart.
Exactly.
Now you're giving them a Nismo version and saying, yes, this more horsepower will really change the way you use this car. And it won't.
Yeah, I really don't know what they were thinking. And you know what? I think they realized that people didn't really like it here in the States. So they did discontinue it in the United States.
Thankfully.
And they discontinued it nationwide for a few years. But now, in everywhere except the United States, the Nissan Juke has returned.
Honestly, this is one of the best things since sliced bread. No, I'm kidding. It's actually one of the worst things I've ever seen. Honestly, what they've done is they've taken the original Juke design. They've given it to some artist that likes to draw futuristic things and said, make it better. That artist quit, and then they found the same kindergarten that had grown up and gone to fifth grade and said, draw this, and he did it again.
Well, look, okay, there's some redeeming qualities here. The headlights are better. They don't bulge out anymore. And, I mean, yeah, they kept the big circle headlights in the front as well, but the front grille is better, and, I mean, it looks sleeker, and design-wise, it's okay.
Nissan has always been one of those companies that has struggled in a lot of ways with some of its design to keep up with the times. But now we're seeing a lot of the other cars like the Ultima and the Murano and even the Maxima actually looking really cool, whereas the Juke has struggled to keep up. The one redeeming quality that they've done with this car is not released it in America.
Yeah, I mean, some people have said that they want this car here, but I really don't think they do. And if you think about similar cars, the Toyota CHR, it has a somewhat similar design, and it didn't do so hot here either.
Honestly, I think this was one of those cases of these foreign car companies kind of competing with one another, right? Nissan put out the Juke. Toyota was like, let's put out the CHR, right? They were just fighting back and forth, and they both didn't take a minute to stop and think, oh, why are we doing this again? Why are we making this car? And that kind of reflects on the sales. These cars have not done that well. Nissan has replaced the Juke in the States with the Kicks, and that's doing significantly better.
Yeah, the Kicks is definitely a much better replacement, and it definitely is better as far as design goes. It looks like a Nissan, but once again, they made a pretty polarizing car for the 2020 model that luckily isn't here in the States.
Yeah, my one recommendation to Nissan is fire whoever designed this, and please, please, please have someone else design a car for you.
Well, there you have it, Nissan. If you can manage to figure out your Juke problems in midst of, well, your other problems, then I think we should be set. Now we're going to move on into another new segment we like to call That'll Buff Right.